Good Sunday morning from Stockholm. During a couple of decades nearly, since I began, since I had the experience of open space technology meeting, that for me was before and an after in my understanding and my practice. You know? And that was sometime 2020. Well, since then I have been thinking and reading about the principles for self-organization. What would those be? And well, I have understood that in computer simulations of how a flock of birds work, there's only 3 principles that need to be fulfilled for the flock to work as a whole. It's the principles of emergence. I have been reading about Kaufman's principles for the origin of life. Well, there are many variables, but there is something in common, is that nearly all authors agree or say that there are 3 principles, not 2, not 4. It's enough with 3. So I have been experimenting a lot on which would those principles be, no? When I give instructions to groups, when I say what are the principles that should govern a specific meeting or a specific process, etc., etc. And I have never been really satisfied. Until 6 months ago, when I was meditating on the Bible's love your neighbor as you love yourself and God over everything. And then I said, how would it be a secular, non-Christian, non-religious way of putting these 3 principles? And then I began to experiment with, okay, this version is tend to yourself, tend to the other, tend to the whole. And it works, you see, it works. Of course, these 3 principles need to be specified for its context or its meeting or something. Like, for example, in listening circles, the variation of these 3 principles is tend to yourself is speak from your heart. Tend to the other is listen with attention from your heart. And tend to the whole is speak to the point, be concise, and keep the time schedules or structure or whatever, no? And I am very happy to see that these 3 principles are gaining traction. I see them appearing here and there, exactly in this formulation. Tend to yourself, tend to the other, and tend to the whole. And then I make the connection with Viktor Frankl, what he wrote about what happened in the concentration camp when he was there, no? And I see, well, when there are big disruptions and circumstances become adverse, no, we as humans cannot stop self-organizing. But the self-organization is not necessarily very healthy. Because these 3 principles, 1 or 2 of them, we stop tending either to the whole, either to the other, or to ourselves. And then we require willingness to move from self-organization towards self-management in order to reintroduce one of those principles that we have not stopped tending to. And that leads to the question of the difference between self-management and self-organization. And what do we mean when we speak about self-managed systems or self-organized system? But that's another story for another Sunday, if I remember. So have a nice week, and take care of yourself, take care of the other, and take care of the whole, whatever the whole is for you in each given moment. Bye.